For more than 5 years, Saad Iqbal Madni was prisoner number 743 in Guantanamo Bay. The prize-winning reciter of the Quran claims he was threatened, abused and brutally tortured. His ordeal began soon after 9/11 during a visit to Indonesia. He says he was bundled onto a plane which took off from Jakarta and refueled in British territory, the island of Diego Garcia. He claims when he got to Egypt, interrogators used electric shocks. From there, he was transferred to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. He was moved again in March 2003 to join the hidden ranks in Guantanamo. The US Defense Department says detainees there are treated legally and humanely, and torture has never been used. Saad Iqbal Madni says he's living proof that it has. He was released in August 2008 and returned home to Pakistan. But more than 2 years on, he's still fighting for his freedom. Saad Madni, thank you for speaking with us. You were arrested in Indonesia. What happened when they put you on the plane?
They wear me the trouser suits, and they shackle me from my neck down to feet, and they threw me inside the box. Was a wood box, and they covered the top with the plastic sheet, and that was a wood box inside a plane, and is holding the box with the floor of the plane with the shackles, and start a flight to Diego Garcia. We stay over there is a half an hour. They said they're going to take a fuel from here, and they go. The flight is start again.
How can you be sure it was Diego Garcia you stopped in?
After I release, inside Guantanamo, my lawyers told me, we got investigate, and we know you stop in Diego Garcia. That's I have been told inside the Guantanamo Bay from my lawyers.
So you were brought to Egypt. What happened there?
After I arrive in Egypt, they take me to the Egyptian intelligence place, and firstly they take me to a room, and they said the son of Hosni Mubarak, Allah Mubarak, he's come, and he said, you brought in here from United States of America. You've been sending in here by the United States of America. And if you cooperate with us, we will cooperate with you. If you're not going to cooperate with us, we have a lot of ways to get what we need. I said, because during the flight, I think I already told myself my life is over. Because what I saw from the Indonesian airport and during the flight to Egypt is like I'm going to die. That's I think. The place they put me inside a cell or inside the Egyptian intelligence, I can call is like was a smaller than a grave. In 92 days, believe me, I can't lay down comfortably.
Did they ask you about Osama bin Laden?
They did. They did. During the investigation, when they asked me if I know, they asked me the question about Reciter. They asked me the question about if I have met Osama bin Laden, if I went to Afghanistan, if I have any information about 9/11. When I denied, they give me the electroshocks in my knees, and after a few times I got passed out during the investigation. They forced me to drink a tea, and that they put inside a tea some kind of drugs, and that's make me like I doesn't know what I've been answering, and when I am like a drunk, so something like that.
How many times did they give you electric shocks?
The 3 interrogations. The interrogation in Egypt was only 3 times.
And when did they take you from Egypt?
It was 12 April 2002. Friday, almost 7, 8 p.m. They taped my mouth with a tape. They put goggles in my eyes. They put big headphones on my ears, so I can see, I can talk, I can listen anything. It's like more bad than animals. It was only they live, my nose is open, so I can breathe and live. During the flight, the same thing. They my legs was touching my chest. Is that position they keep us in the inside a box inside the plane from the Egypt to the background. 13 April was when I arrived in Bagram Air Base. After that, after 1 month in general population, they take me to isolation in upstairs for almost 10 months. During this, they torture me mentally by the cursing word, torturing mentally by the Quran, because they're throwing a Quran over there inside number 2 box, because over there in Bagram they use as a toilet is a box, metal box, and they throw a Quran inside that box. They write a curse word inside the Quran and they give it to me and they give it to the other detainees. They torture me over there, keeping me hungry without food. They call the dogs, make me afraid from the dogs, and yelling, screaming, punching, kicking, and keep me in interrogation for 17 hours long. To just and at that time, during this time, I'm not allowed to go to the bathroom. I'm not allowed to eat anything. They got a polygraph in Bagram, and 3 times they got from me a polygraph in Guantanamo. They said, you're passing a test and we believe you, but you have to admit. One person, his name is Ron from military intelligence, he comes to see me in Bagram Air Base and he said, we did a mistake to arresting you, but we can't release you, let you go to free from here. We have to take you to Guantanamo, and from there you will be eventually you go to release and you go back to your home country.
What happened to you when you arrived in Guantanamo Bay?
So it was 23rd March 2003 when I arrived in Guantanamo Bay. They stripped me naked in front of 50 people from military intelligence, US, including male, females, and after that they covered me with a uniform of orange, and they handcuffs me, shackles me legs, and they take me to the Oscar block. I was in Oscar 4 for isolation for 30 days. Was a 6x4 metal cage. Did not take me in interrogation during these 30 days. After that, they moved me to Mike block. I was in Mike block when they took me first time into interrogations. They said, we've been watching you since you left from Pakistan. You're not going to lie with us. We know everything about you because we've been follow up you since you left Pakistan. You have to be truthful with us. They asked me the question, was 4 people, was a black guy, was Americans, and was a Egyptian, was a Indonesian, Malaysian looking guy, and was a British guy.
How do you know that one of them was British?
He said, I'm from England, British. He said his voice accent for English also was known. British guy, he just asked me about Richard Reed, that's it. He said, if I have met Richard Reed, he was said like after you went to Indonesia, he come to visit you in Indonesia also. He said that. I don't know. He interrogated me only about Richard Reed. And if I have any friend or anyone, I know him in England, in UK. Other peoples, they ask me different questions about if I have met Osama bin Laden, if I went to Afghanistan, if I have any kind of relation with any terrorist groups, any information about 9/11, any information about planning terrorism for the future, Al-Qaeda, and that's questions. I denied. Then they was very mad. They said, okay, if you're not going to accept, at least you met Osama bin Laden. They said, go ahead, accept you met Osama bin Laden, we forgive you. Just you did mistake and that's fine. I said, how I admit something I never did it? So that time was my they start torture me in Guantanamo. The first torture I received, they put me in frequent flyer status. They kept me in frequent flyer status for 6 months. The frequent flyer status mean the detainee doesn't allowed to sleep. Every 20 minutes, every half an hour, the guards come and wake up the detainee. They handcuff him, they leg shackles him, and they move him from camp to camp, from cell to cell. Sometimes they put you in cell 1, and each block had 48 cells. The first time they put you in cell 1, and the second time they move you back in 5 cells, last, so you can walk. If we try to get a nap a little bit, the guards come and they kick the doors, yelling, screaming, cursing, and only the base, this detainee not allowed to sleep. During this frequent flyer status, I was suffering from my ear because the torture in Indonesian airport, I have realized in Bagram Air Base, I have a hole in my eardrum, and that's because they threw me against the wall. After I was in frequent flyer status, I was suffering from the pain and I can't sleep and was bleeding from my legs each time I go walk, and they move me from camp to camp, cell to cells.
And during that period in Guantanamo, Saad, did you ever think you would get out, or did you give up hope?
The way they treat me, I was never hoping I going back alive in Pakistan. They really, the doctors over there, they said in 3 months you're going to die because the infection is very close to your brain. Anytime you can have a stroke. That reason they consider me in life-threatening condition.
What about physical ill treatment in Guantanamo? Were there beatings in Guantanamo?
Yes, not the interrogators, but the guards. They several times they beat me by the kicking and IRF team. They always send a IRF team. IRF team is 6 or 8 guards. They wear a helmet and they have a spray. They first use spray and they right away they come inside a cage and they beat and handcuff, hand shackles from back, and they beat at that time.
You made a suicide attempt in Guantanamo Bay. Tell me about that.
I have a white sheet. I hang that sheet in my top of cell, and I try to attempt a suicide with that sheet. But the guard caught me, and they take me to the hospital. And a few days, my neck was very hurting, and it just stayed like this. And after that, they now stopped torturing me. They sent me to Delta Block. Delta Block is in Camp 1. Is another block, you can call this a psychiatrist block. Also, you can call this a second interrogators torture block.
What happened when they moved you to Delta Block?
They stripped me naked. Just allowed is the underwear. 6x4 cage is a refrigerator metal. They put me inside that cage for 6 months. And I was without clothes, and they turned on the air condition is very high, and they kept me over there for 6 months. Is nothing allowed beside the underwear. During this period, they take me to the interrogation, and they said, okay, what's now, you going to admit or not? I said no. And I start in here a hunger strike because I was suffering too much, and I start a hunger strike, and that time they start giving me a codeine and morphine as a painkiller.
How difficult was it for you to get access to lawyers when you were in Guantanamo Bay?
When I start hunger strike, one of my friends over there, he was a detainee, he told his lawyers he's going to die. And that reason, the court allowed my lawyers to see me one time visit because my life-threatening conditions.
So that was the only visit you had?
Yes.
How do you feel about